Welcome back to the shop. Over the weekend I stopped by an estate sale, as I often do when I find them in my path, and I got a neat little gadget. It cost me $1, and it's something that I hadn't ever seen before. I was immediately attracted to it because of its shape and appearance. It was shaped in a roughly L shape, and it had a trigger on it. So of course anything that looks like a gun and has a trigger on it is going to catch my eye, especially at an estate sale. So for $1, I picked up a little gadget, and I've got it here on the bench, and it calls itself the SHOOT-A-LITE Safety Gas Lighter. It's stamped that it's made by a company called ERICO, E-R-I-C-O, Cadweld-ERICO, Cleveland, Ohio. I did a little research and looked up Cadweld-ERICO in Cleveland, Ohio, and I couldn't find really much of anything on Cadweld. What I did find is some information about ERICO, and it seems like ERICO is a company. It's of course an acronym for Electric Railway Improvement Company, and they were a company that was founded back in the early 1900s, 1902. And in September of 1921, a magazine that comes out, it's a trade magazine, the National Tool Review, had a little blurb in it, not really an article per se, more of an announcement about a tool called the SHOOT-A-LITE. And that was made by the National Lighter Company, and my suspicion is that was the origin of this tool back in 1921. ERICO, from what I could discover from them, was a company that started out making electrical connections and welding equipment for railroads and mines and things of that nature. And they went about much of the 1900s acquiring smaller companies. So my suspicion is somewhere along the line they either acquired the entirety of National Lighter Company from Chicago, Illinois, or they acquired the rights to make the Shoot-A-Lot. Maybe they bought the patent for this particular thing that would play into the lighting gas torches and things of that nature for their welding supplies. The other thing I discovered was in 2015, ERICO themselves were purchased up by an even larger company called Pentair Electric and Fastener Solutions, I believe it is. But they sell power bonds and welding equipment and kind of the same things that ERICO sells. They still have the ERICO brand alive under the Pentair umbrella, and they also have brands called Caddy and things that remind me of this Cadweld that's on here. So it would seem that all of those are together under one umbrella, the Pentair umbrella nowadays. It also seems that they no longer make the SHOOT-A-LITE gas lighter. I did, however, find it being distributed by a company called Atlas Welding Supplies, and they're marketing, distributing a SHOOT-A-LITE that's made by a company called G.C. Fuller, and there you can find them at SureLight.com. So this tool is still currently manufactured, it's still currently available, and it's manufactured by G.C. Fuller under their SureLight brand, and they're out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. The brand new tool I found on Amazon for a little over $16 with free shipping. I paid $1 for this. Now, I also found an entry on a cigarette lighter collecting forum, and on that forum they talk about this particular model with the same markings, Cadweld-ERICO, Cleveland, Ohio. being from the 1960s. I don't know how they know that. They didn't cite any references. So it would seem, you know, given the graphics, it's got these cool little lightning bolt graphics over here on the side. I'm not sure if that comes into focus on the camera or not. But given everything, I would say the 1960s is probably a fair appraisal for a date for this one. It says on here, trademark, registered in U.S. Patent Office, but it doesn't give a patent number, so I wasn't able to, in a brief search, I mean, you know, maybe a little more exhaustive search I'd have better luck, but in a brief search I was not able to find the patent listing for this device to know exactly when it was patented and who created it and that sort of thing. Nonetheless, it's a very neat tool, and it is designed to throw a spark out of the business end of this thing and start a fire. And it says on the side, lights quickly, gas, gasoline, acetylene, and alcohol only. So I'm thinking things like alcohol lamps, acetylene torches. Now it says gas and gasoline, so I'm assuming they're making a distinction there between natural gas or home gas and gasoline like you'd find in a car. And so what the current listing for this tool says it's good for is lighting pilot lights on home appliances when the piezo igniter goes out, and it makes a comment that that most of them do. As a matter of fact, the exact reading from it is ideal for lighting pilot lights or gas grills after the built-in piezo lighter fails, and most of them do eventually. So anyway, I found this on Amazon, like I said. That was from the description on Amazon. One of few distinctions this thing has is on Amazon, it had a 5-star rating. Now, there are very few things on Amazon that actually have a 5-star rating, and usually when you look at the 1-star ratings, you'll discern pretty quickly that the 1-star ratings are generally written by people who didn't fully read the description before they plopped down their hard-earned money and bought something that they didn't understand before they bought it. Nonetheless, this device had a 5-star rating. The other neat thing about this is that it operates using a flint wheel, just like you'd find in a Zippo lighter, and it uses the same flint. Now, this does not have a flint in it right now, so I would check this to show you that it's clear, but it's not a firearm, so I guess I don't have to do that. No sparks. Now, when it says when it's empty, you raise this little lever and move it to the right, and when you do that, it exposes a little opening in there, and in that little opening, you can place a lighter flint. Now, I have a bottle of lighter flints here that I've had for, oh golly, probably 25 years or so, and still have a few flints in there. But if we drop a flint into that little device and we move the spring-loaded tensioner back over to the side, we can see that it throws a really nifty little spark. So seeing that, and being the kind of prepared person that I am, especially a person who has a fireplace in their home, I like to light fires, and I like to have devices that I have handy that assist me in lighting fires. And so I thought, man, what a nifty way to light a fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it out right now while I got everybody here and we're making a video about it, and I'm going to try this out to try and light one of my homemade egg carton fire lighters, fire starters. And so let me get the camera reset and we'll take a look at that. Now, ordinarily I would be doing something like this outside in the fire pit, but it's been really rainy here, and today it's just as rainy and nasty and chilly and cold and windy outside. So we're moving this to the workbench, and we're going to do this here. These are my little, not patented, lots of folks make these egg carton wax wood chip fire starters. I use these to start the fireplace. I make these out of old candles that I usually get at a resale shop for pennies on the dollar. These foam board, blown board egg cartons that come free with eggs, and wood chips, which when you're a woodworker are cheap and plentiful. And if you're not a woodworker, the pine bedding that's used for small critters in their cages is a really good cheap substitute. And for a tinder, I usually use this jute twine that I get at the dollar store, 3 spools for $1. Cheap and easily repeatable, so it's not as if I gotta search for a new thing every time I'm doing that. But when you need one of these, you just break it off and you put it on top of the wood that you're going to burn. Now what I do is I take a number of pieces of the jute twine, and I pulled off a piece here just as a sample, and I untwist it until it starts to come apart like so, and then you just pull it apart until it starts to be kind of frayed, and bundle it up until you got a nice little bundle. This is probably a big bundle. I probably don't need that much, but what that does is it gives you some place to throw the spark, and that'll catch the spark and start a flame, which will start the fire starter. So let's see how our Shoot-A-Lite safety gas lighter does with lighting one of the fire starters. Well, not as good as I'd hoped. I see little sparks there, but it's not, doesn't seem to be igniting. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm a little disappointed. I thought for sure that would do it for me. What this still might be good for is to be used with a piece of char cloth. And if you don't know how to make char cloth, there's an ample supply of people to show you how to do that on YouTube as well. And if you want, let me know in the comments, and someday I'll do a whole video on making char cloth and the fire starters. Well, with char cloth, usually it's simple as throwing a spark into it. And once you throw a spark into it, it starts to smolder like that. You take that smoldering char cloth and you put that in your tinder pile. And you try not to smash it out. There we go. We got a lot of good sparks on that now. And we got a fire. And we put that on top of our fire starter, and with any luck, that will catch it. It's the kind of thing that is really invaluable if you find yourself in need of getting a fire going without any of the traditional means. So there you go, it's going good. Now this little fire starter will burn for about 10 minutes, certainly long enough to get any wood that you need to burn going, even if it might be a little damp on a camping trip or something like that. So let me move this to the side and reset the camera again, and we will sum things up. Well, okay, there you have it. It's the Cadweld-ERICO SHOOT-A-LITE safety gas lighter. Didn't work as well as I had hoped for what I want to use it for, but it did with the use of a piece of char cloth. Throw a spark into a char cloth and get our fire starter going. So a useful little tool, and certainly well worth the $1 price tag. Would it be worth $20, $25 that I saw them for sale on the internet? I'm not so sure. I saw antique ones such as this on eBay anywhere from $10 to $15. Is it worth $10 to $15? I probably would not have paid $10 for it. Is it worth $1? It's worth $1, and I will probably throw it in my little fire starting kit that I keep next to the fireplace. And should I ever need a spark thrown and my magnesium block isn't somewhere handy by, then I'll probably think about using this. But anyway, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I sure would appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I definitely would appreciate you giving a thumbs up to the video down below. There are links in the description to my Facebook page, my Instagram page, and also my email address is there. Leave a comment down below if there's something that you like that you saw. If you think I'm an idiot for sitting in front of a fire on my workbench and just letting it burn. I can assure you that my benchtop is Corian, so it's in no danger. However, I can also assure you that as soon as the video is over in the next minute or so, this will be going outside in the rain. But thanks for watching, and until we next meet, keep the faith, walk the walk, and go with God.